All right, folks. Well, you know you're in for a treat when you hear that tune because it's time for another week of the Rec Poker Podcast. This is the Chats edition, but we also have a Forums edition every week just talking strategy. I'm your host for both, Jim Reid, Bluffsterini in the home game and at Rec Poker Jim on socials. And I have the best freaking job in the world talking poker with my friends here on the Rec Poker Podcast every Monday night at 7:30 Eastern live on YouTube. Join us every week for free and you can win a prize just for being part of the gang. We're going to speak to JP McCann in just a moment, and I am very excited to be talking to this gentleman. First, I'm happy to mention that we are brought to you by Running Aces. They are the official sponsor of the Rec Poker Podcast, and most of what we do here is free. We're largely volunteer-based organization, so we depend on support from our sponsors and also from our premium members who take part in training material and study opportunities for only 22 bucks a month. And so I'm very thankful to all of them for being part of what we do here. Of course, it all starts with a free membership. You can sign up for a free account here at Rec Poker. All it takes is an email address and a smile. And if 22 bucks a month is too much, I totally get that. You can always get your first month for only 5 bucks, or you can just help out your local food bank. If you make a donation to a local food bank of any amount and send us the receipt, we'll credit you with a free month of Rec Poker here as well. So please do make the world a better place and get better at poker at the same time. Now, you get used to hearing my voice because they let me host the show on Mondays, but I'm only one man, one small cog in the Rec Poker machine, and it takes a group, a gang, a village, a crew to make all the magic happen around here. We call our group of wizards the Wrecking Crew, and if you want to learn more about me or the rest of the Wrecking Crew, go to rec.poker/crew, or you can just listen up because you're going to meet a few of them right here tonight, starting with producing co-host Chris Jones.
I'm Chris Jones. You can find me 5B5 on socials or 5x5 in the Poker Stars home game. And I help run our monthly strategy segment called The Deep Dive.
And my name is Joe Coolis. You can find me at Joe Cool PhD, cool with a K on Blue Sky as well as Twitter. And my responsibility is I run the PsyOps workshop every month. You may be wondering why I'm wearing a tie if you're looking at this live. And that's because I'm knee deep in running our silent auction, trying to get people to purchase items and bid on items that are of an unusual nature. Go to rec.poker/auction to see them more.
And I'm John Somsky, also known as Poker Geek MN everywhere, and I help run our home games.
Kim Kilroy. I am PetFat or PetFat33 on the socials. I am Fergie56 in the home game, and I run a hand history review once a month.
And I'm Rob Washam. You can find me as Rabman50 just about everywhere. And on the first and third Wednesdays of every month, you can join me and a bunch of premium members in Rob's book study.
So as you can see, we've got quite the smorgasbord of options available here. All our different Wrecking Crew members have different ways of contributing to our premium membership, and I'm just, like I say, the luckiest guy in the world because I get to hang out with them every week and talk poker. Now, that's enough out of us. You're here for JP McCann. JP, if people don't know, JP is one of the brilliant gentlemen behind the Irish Poker Open. So I made sure to crack a Guinness here today to make this as an authentic experience as possible. JP, you're such a lovely fella. I really enjoyed getting to know you in Dublin last year. Can't wait to see you again in April. Welcome to the Rec Poker Podcast, my man.
Thank you for having me, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it was a pleasure to be at the Irish Poker Open. Let's just dive right into what is going on over there and how it's different from every other poker series that I've visited or been a part of. So, we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about here. Well, you know what? Let's even pause that. Hold on a second. Stop the presses. JP McCann. If folks have never heard of you before, don't let me put you in the box. Why don't you kind of just explain in your own words, what's your role in the poker world today?
So I started in poker in 2005. I came from a very different background that most people would get into poker. I was playing like a little small game in a GA club, which is a sports club over here. And at the time I was working in a bank and I was doing my master's in finance. And I played this game. It was like 1,000 guaranteed. It was a small game. It was like €40 buy-in with like unlimited rebuys. And so like I estimated there was sort of 42 players. So it was 1280 to begin with. I estimated the prize pool should have been like 4 or 5K, and they paid out 1,000. I was like, two kids, 18 years of age, were running the game. I was like, this doesn't look right. And they're like, well, that's what the boss said. I was like, well, who's the boss? and he's not here. So the boss had 5 games on that night, doing the exact same thing in every game. And I rang him up, and I'm gonna have to excuse my language, but I'm going to quote him. I
Yeah.
I said, this doesn't look good. And he says, when you run your own game, you can do whatever you want. Now, fuck off. And he hung up on me. I said, that's very interesting. So 6 weeks later, I put a game on so obviously legislation is very different here to it is in the US. So there's no barriers to enter the market. So 6 weeks later, I put a game on next to the nearest pub that he had or game that he had. I was still working in the bank and doing my maths at night, and then 6 months later, I put him out of business, and then I started running. I went full time running games in pubs and stuff like this. Then over the years, I started becoming a tournament director. So I worked with Poker Stars, worked on the EPT. I did a couple of World Poker Tour events. I worked with Caesars, WSOP Europe. I was a resident tournament director in France for a casino group over there, Barrier. Um, I was before we got on the show, I mentioned about my club. So I opened my first club in 2012, and then in 2015, after the 2015 Irish Open, myself and Paul bought the Irish Open from Paddy Power. And at the time, the Irish Open it kind of lost its way. So the Irish Open used to be 3,500 buy-in. It had been for a number of years, but in the preceding, say, I think 5 or 6 years, um, so Paddy Power are actually now sponsor of the event again. But in the preceding years, they had gone the poker boom from 2000 from Moneymaker right up to this time, it kind of died off, and Ireland was kind of financially suffering a bit, and poker wasn't in terms of the total money that the company made was very small for Paddy Power, and they were more interested in sports book and online slots and casinos stuff like this. So their poker team had kind of gone from a team of 15 down to one, and they just didn't have the resources. So I had pitched an idea. So I obviously still run the Norwegian Championships, which used to finish the Sunday beforehand. Kim, you might remember the Norwegians when that was on before it moved out of Ireland 2 years ago. And I pitched an
Many
idea.
happy memories of that.
Yeah, good. The Norwegians, great guys. And Jim, you would have loved it if the Norwegians were there. So we're doing that now in Bratislava. But so the Norwegians used to finish on a Sunday, and the Irish Open would start on a Thursday. And I kind of pitched an idea to them. So, like, I'm breaking down the City West Hotel on a Monday. You're setting up in a different hotel across city centre on a Wednesday. And why don't we bring the two of them together? So that kind of was in their head. So then myself and Paul um, bought the Irish Open from Paddy Power. We ran our first event in 2016. The 2015 event had 320 players, which was the lowest numbers they'd had. It'd been going down and down and down. The highest was 708. And they'd messed around with the buy-in. They changed the buy-in, I think, from 3.5 to 4.5 to 2,750 to 2 to 2.5, and just kind of all over the place. And then we decided, so at this stage, it already lost the international market. So we decided, okay, and there wasn't a whole lot of money in Ireland, so we brought the buy-in down to 1150 and tried making it more for recreational players. And so that was met with a bit of resistance initially. A lot of people thought it was going to lose its prestige. But now, because we've built it back up again, so the numbers as now the prestige is back there. But the other big thing that we did, and as I mentioned there, so I've traveled all around Europe as a term director, and a lot of events that you go to, it's all business or it's all just poker. And whereas a lot of players, okay, for the professional players, they're happy with that, but not everybody's a professional. A lot of players qualify online from a cheap satellite, and when they go there, they want to just have fun. So obviously they want to play the main event, they want to play the tournaments, and when they play the tournaments, they want to obviously do well, but not everybody does well in the tournament. You know what I mean? Only 10-15% of people get paid.
Right.
So this is where with the Norwegian Championships, we'd always, so Frode, who I do that with, he's very big on the social element of it. And I noticed this myself from working in different events around Europe, how sometimes these events can be quite stale outside the poker. So in addition to change, we kind of just ripped up the whole tournament schedule. What was there was a 4-day event. We made it an 8-day event. We changed the buy-ins, and then we brought in a load of fun activities. And each year we just keep adding new activities. So this year you would have seen some of the stuff, but like each night for anyone who hasn't been to the Irish Open, each night we have our entertainment starts at I think 7 o'clock. We have normally have a competition. Could be like a beer pong competition, shuffleboard, something like this. And then we've got some sort of live entertainment, whether that's music or comedians or karaoke. And like a lot of people end up hanging out, and we will never we named it this year the Craic Den. And the amount of
Yes.
America that came up, and he goes, in America what a Craic Den is? I'm like, yeah, I know only too well what a Craic Den is. That's why we call it the Craic Den. But so a lot of people are coming up here. If this wasn't here, you'd be doing better in the cash games. I thought, but this is what makes the event. People come, so like it can't just all be about business. People want to come and they want to enjoy themselves, especially you guys are traveling from America. Like Kim has come to the Irish Open since 2016. I think Kim's the first year you came, was it? So it's a long way for someone to travel. And so if I'm trying to get people, like last year we had people from 60 different countries, I believe it was, maybe 68
Amazing.
countries. So if someone's coming from Brazil, or we have people from Brazil, New Zealand, Australia, America, Canada, travel from all around the world, like to come to a 1,000 buy-in event where the accommodation could be another €1,000. So there needs to be something extra put on, and that's kind of what we've always tried to do. And then so yeah, that's kind of a little bit of background about me and a little bit of background about the Irish Open.
Yeah. Well, so Kim is one of the people that had been telling me for years, like, Jim, you got to go, you got to come out to the Irish Poker Open. You just got to make this trip to Dublin and do it. And, you know, like a lot of our listeners, like I'm a recreational player. For me to fly across across the world and like spend a week in a European city, I can't just like do that for a poker tournament. Luckily, as you know, JP, last year it happened to coincide with my anniversary with my wife for our wedding. And so I just snow jobbed her totally. I was just like, oh, come on, honey, let's go celebrate our anniversary in Ireland this year. Doesn't that sound great? Oh, also, I'm going to spend about a week in Dublin playing in the Irish Poker Open while we're there. So we got to kind of double dip. But I'm coming back. And like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but like, uh, podcast listeners, if you think you've had fun playing poker, you got to get on a flight to Dublin in April and join us for this year of the Irish Poker Open. And we'll talk all sorts about why. But Kim, you unmuted first. Why don't you jump
I
in?
did, because once you go once, you're always coming back.
Yeah, yeah,
Always.
yeah. I mean,
Kind of him to say that. Thank you.
well, JP, you mentioned a couple of just like some of the fun activities that go on in the Craic Den. I still smile every time I say that. But you didn't even mention like some of the prizes are out of this world. Like I know Paddy Power was a sponsor last year. Poker Stars has also been very active. They were giving out all sorts of packages and tickets, and like you can show up for free, play shuffleboard, and beat a bunch of half drunk people that are there for the poker
Wait,
and
wait,
walk away
Jim,
with
there's
like
no half drunk in the Craic Den. Okay,
yeah, good point.
let's get our stall out right. If you're in the Craic Den, you're in the Craic Den. You're full on. Okay.
This is a good point. Thank you for that correction. That's an excellent point. But like I won an 1,150 € main event ticket because of a karaoke contest that I was in with David Lappin and some of the other guys. There were some amazing prizes that you guys were giving out there, and just like the quality of the player experience is really unparalleled. But I will also say it's also great poker because like a lot of people, it's so much fun. I was sitting at the table with all sorts of people over the course of the week that I was there who were saying, it won't surprise you, I start up a lot of conversations at the table, saying that it was they only play poker once a year. They just come out for the Irish Poker Open. That's the only time they play poker in a year. And folks, like, you can tell in a couple places. So like this is a good field to be playing in. The cash games are good, the tournaments are good, the buy-ins are reasonable, the events are so much fun. Like, yeah, you got to get yourself to Dublin, but if you can make that happen, I can't say enough good things about it. Kim?
Yeah, it's the only place you can go where it's a win-win when you bust from a tournament, because you can even have more fun after the tournament when you go to the Craic Den and you realize that it didn't matter that you busted because you're just having the time of your life.
Yeah.
So it's just a win-win. Everybody should go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite often, Kim, some people are especially if someone's kind of getting a little bit short stacked, and okay, obviously not the main event, but like if it's like one of the smaller side events, they're like, do you know what? I just want to get rid of these chips. The lads are having so much fun in there. I want to go in a party with them, and
Yeah.
you see that a lot. You know what I mean? Or people are playing cash games, they just get up and leave and go in, and because whatever entertainment's on. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say on that front is, like you all know, I'm enthusiastic about poker, but I'm not like a pro. I'm not the best poker player at Rec Poker. I'm not even the best poker player on this panel right now. But I final tabled the six max of that series, and I cashed in the main event. So any donkey can go deep in some of these tournaments. I'm not just saying it. So so JP, you and Paul, you kind of mentioned this off the top. Um, the Irish Open had been like a flagship event. It had been flagging for a few years, and attendance had kind of fallen off. Uh, you and Paul kind of swooped in, and you've really restored it and more. I think you guys continue to set records. You set a couple attendance records last year, I think. How do
So
you define? Yeah, yeah. Speak to
yeah,
that a little.
so prior to us taking on regarding records, prior to us taking the event on, the record, the most amount of players that ever attended the Irish Open main event was 708. I was actually 708 twice. I think it was
Mm,
2 years apart from each other, and that would have been. I'm on the spot here now. I'm going to guess around 2006 and 2008, I think, or maybe 2005 and 2007 was in around that period.
mhm,
Actually, one of the years, so this was back, so Liam Flood, so the Irish Open, for those who don't know, is the second oldest poker tournament in the world after the World Series. And so Liam Flood, who was one of the founders, along with Terry Rogers, a famous bookmaker, he had a rule that once the seat was sold, and if a person bust, that was it. The seat doesn't get resold. Okay, so that's why it was 708 twice. And that was the max capacity. And then when the seats were busted, they didn't resell. There was 1 year when it was a 3,500 buy-in, the players were buying seats for 10,000 to get into the game. True story. But so it was obviously then it obviously came down a bit off that. And then as I said, the year before we took it on, there was 320. And each year, our first year we got 802, and each year since we've had it, we've had a new record in the main events. So last year we had 3,233 in the main, which was huge, obviously. And we had a number of events that were records in themselves. Like so the mini, so last year, so it's probably this is a bit of a false figure because the mini used to just have just one starting day. Last year we put a 500,000 guarantee on the mini Irish Open, and that got 5,230 players or something like that. I think we had a flight every day except for the Friday, which is the busy day of the main. So this year we've actually upped the guarantee, and that's going to be a million guarantee.
nice,
Yeah. So yeah,
nice. And what's the buy-in for that one again?
that's that's 250.
Pretty good for a million guarantee.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
yeah. I think you're gonna find me at that one.
yeah.
Um, but it's not just about breaking records. I want to ask you, like, you guys have your heart in the right place when it comes to this, and of course, it's great to make a bunch of money while you're doing it. And be profitable as a venture. But how do you and Paul measure success for the series?
So meeting people like you who come to the event and who go away and say, that was an amazing event. I'm going to come back next year. That for me is success. People who go off, and as you said, there's a number, you mentioned already, there's a number of people who only play poker once in the year, and that's the year. So yes, it's great to break the record. Eventually, we're going to get to a stage where not the main event will stop going. Well, I'm hoping we're a long way away from that. I have aspirations of us getting to 10,000 players, but the most important thing is that the event runs smoothly. Um, Everyone has a good time. That's the most important thing. For me, I'm more focused on the Craic Den being right than the poker room. And we have a great crew of guys there, like Sean Lytle, who's comes from America. He works the World Series. Nick O'Hara is one of the main TDs with the EPTs. So we've a crew of staff, some of the best guys from Europe and the best guys from North America that work. So the poker event runs itself like clockwork. Um, but yeah, I suppose that the best thing for us is people going away and saying that was great. We'll be back. and myself and Paul have been to a number of EPTs this year. So obviously PokerStars are our main sponsor, and the amount of people that we see at it that they came last year was the first time, like they wouldn't have previously come for a 1K main event buy-in. But obviously PokerStars were doing a big push. So like if any of your guys were in the NAPT in Vegas, all on the LED screens would have had about the Irish Open. So they've been doing that a lot of EPTs and promoting the event. And guys, people come up to it and goes, no, that was the most fun I've had. And like, so for me, that's the measure of success.
That's great. I just want to remind our YouTube audience, if you've got questions for JP, drop them in the chat there, and we'll make sure to ask them. I also want to, if you're in the YouTube chat, we're going to be giving away a prize at the end of the show here for in a raffle to support a local food bank. So stick around for that. And we're also going to be looking for some names for famous, maybe famous Irish poker players that we're going to use for stake study stack at the end of the episode to put JP in an uncomfortable position, hopefully. And of course, if you're watching live, or if you're watching later, one of the great ways to support what we're doing here is by making a donation to RecPoker through the YouTube chat with a super comment or a super sticky or a super chat or something like that. And if you like to do that, we'd love it. And we share a portion of all of those donations with a local food bank as well. So thanks everyone for your support. So JP, what do you get like do you play much poker outside of the IPO?
Um, as I mentioned, I have a small club in Dublin, and I play a little bit in there. Um, I almost had my best result 2 weekends ago. I had a 50K guarantee, and I was overlaid by 20K, and I played it, and then I blew up on the final table. But it was
Nice.
I go and play there for a bit of fun, and the guys like seeing me coming in and playing a bit. But outside the club, I don't play that much. I've actually you had Frankie on recently. I heard his podcast that he's had with him, and I've been to Frankie's festivals this year. I've gone to all three of them this year. I've played that's probably the most I've played outside of my club because I'm just when you're working poker all the time, you don't have a whole lot of free time outside of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Frank was a really fun guy to bump into out there and a good guest as well. That Cash Game Festival is they've taken a page out of your book when it comes to, entertaining the players off the felt, I think, which is something we should all be doing more of. I love
Frankie
that.
has a very similar mindset to myself. I met Frankie. I think I met Frankie almost 10 years ago. He's a really good guy, and he does a lot of the same things. Paul came with me when we went to Malta, and actually Kim will know Raf and Tim Shalman came over. Tim's wife came over as well, Elizabeth. So they had some really cool player experiences where we brought them a vineyard and off to the beaches and all these sort of cool things, which is again, it goes back to it shouldn't just be all about poker.
Yeah, I love it. Chris Jones, you unmuted there. What's on your mind?
Well, JP, we have lots of conversations about traveling for poker, and talk to a bunch of kind of players that I've kind of given some advice, but I'd just be curious about if people are listening to this and be like, "Gosh, I want to go, I want to go to the Irish Poker Open." What are some tips you'd have for somebody who's maybe never been and wants to take the best advantage of it, things to think about, especially if they're coming from outside Ireland? What kind of recommendations would you have for them?
So if you're coming from, say, further afield, like the US or something like that, like there's some really great places in Ireland to see. So if you're coming, I would try and give yourself some extra time. Um, Galway is a great town. So like I wouldn't just stay in Dublin. So like I would always recommend Killarney is a lovely town in the west of Ireland down in Kerry, and they've got what's called the Rink. Kerry's absolutely beautiful. Um, if you play golf, I don't play golf myself, but there's amazing golf courses in Ireland. There's a ton of cool stuff to do and see around Ireland. But yeah, the uh the Atlantic Way, which runs all the way along the west coast, Cliffs and Moher, some of that stuff is really amazing to go see. Yeah.
Now,
I
JP,
book early.
yeah, book early. Yeah, no kidding. And the dates this year, it's always kind of like the week leading up to Easter, right? So this year in 2025, it's in mid-April, and you've actually added some events to the schedule this week. Can you talk a little bit about what the actual schedule is and when people should book their hotel rooms?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, prior to myself and Paul taking the event on, it used to be a 4-day event, went from Thursday to Sunday, and so that's 5 days, sorry, right? Yeah. Thursday to Monday was 5 days, sorry.
There you
So
go.
we went Monday to Monday. This year we're going to go Thursday to Monday. So the last day is always Easter Monday. And obviously Easter changes every year. The dates of it change. So we start on Thursday the 10th of April and we finish on Monday the 21st of April. Um, with regards wanting to book, so we've done a deal with a number of hotels in the area. I won't go through them all now, but all the information is on our website, uh,
And we
irishpokeropen.com.
and we did just put that link in the YouTube chat, and that'll be in the show notes as well, so people
Okay,
can
cool.
click through and find
Yeah,
all that information.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then with regard to the schedule, so we've one of the things that we've found. So obviously the iPoker network runs satellites. Paddy Power started those satellites already a couple of weeks ago, and so Frankie's festival, iPoker runs satellites for his three events. Our schedule, our festival goes for nearly 5 months with them, and it's the single biggest satellite schedule that they have all year long. So we have quite a lot of players who win 4, 5, 6 seats. And so this year we introduced, I'm going to call it, it's almost like a co-main event. So we've added on the first weekend the same price point as the main event, and it's a 1 million guaranteed mystery bounty. So your first
Fun.
ticket that you win must be used for the main event, and any other tickets that you have after that can be used for the mystery bounty. We can be used for re-entries in the main event, or it can be used for any of the high rollers. We've added a number of tournaments at 1150. Like for example, we have a seniors high roller this year at 1150. So yeah, that's we had a lot of people last year were like about 2-3 weeks beforehand saying, "Hey JP, can you put in a mixed 8 game event in?" Stuff like this. And at that stage it was too late. So there's an awful lot of players in Europe starting to play mixed games. So in the first, say I think 5 or 6 days, we've added a good few mixed events
Hmm.
for traveling players in Europe that are interested in this. The other big thing that we've added this year, we met a guy called Darren Chow when we were in Calgary last year, Canadian poker player. He's a deaf player and travels around the world. And he was telling us about, so we had an interpreter who was speaking with us. He had played in Barcelona where they had like a deaf championships. They had like 400 players. And there's a huge community of deaf players out there. But when he goes to play at an event, they tend to be just deaf events, or he's going on his own to play at a poker event. And we were saying it'd be great to have a deaf championship event during the Irish Open. All these guys can get there, and then it's not just the one event. So they're there for the full event. So obviously they have to have their one event that is just for them, but then for the rest of the week, so it's more likely that they're going to play the side event, and it could be 2 or 3 deaf players on the table, and now they can communicate to each other, and they can talk to each other. Obviously, will it'll be the same as the English only rule. They won't be able to sign during hands, but they can talk to each other outside of hands, and it just makes it more inclusive. So that's something that we're really looking forward to, and we're hoping a lot to get the players in the deaf community come out and play it. Because there's a lot more out there than I thought about beforehand.
Yeah, that's great. I've played with a few deaf players over the years in Canada and in Vegas, and it is, poker is a game where a lot of the communication's done with your chips and non-verbally anyway. So it's a great environment to have some to sort of be on the same page with some hearing impaired people. So I think that's great, and I think they are a surprisingly large portion of the poker community. And I think it's easier like playing online. It's a very visually based uh, interface. So kudos to you for making that more of a priority. I think that's an underserved portion of the poker community. I love to hear that.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, and I want to give a big shout out, Rob Delaney. Thank you so much for your donation through the YouTube chat. That's we've no one's ever that's the biggest donation we've ever gotten here, $100. Rob Delaney, Rob Diesel, that's fantastic. We'll definitely put that to good use and feed some hungry folks over the holidays here. Really appreciate that, Rob. Thank you so much.
That's a great thing
Um,
you do, by the way.
yeah, well, thank you. It's
Yeah,
it's tough time in the world, man. We just gotta make the people that need help the most. just it's the easiest way to help. Just support your local food bank. We'll get into some more details about ways that people can help out with that later. JP, let's talk about some of the headaches of the position that you're in. So you've done a great job putting this crew together. I will say, like, it sounds like you're paying me to say this stuff. I want to go on the record. JP and the Irish Poker Open have no professional relationship with me. They paid me nothing. They are not sponsors of the show. Um, but like the dealers were top notch. The floor staff were really excellent. Like the staff helping people get registered and dealing with payouts and lines. Like you've got a crack team out there, man. Uh, that's a harder job than people think it is. How do you weed out all the not subpar employees when it comes to this? Like other venues aren't having the same luck that you're having. Let me put it that way. What are you doing differently?
Well, so I suppose we obviously been running the event for a long time, and each year it grows a little bit. So we add maybe an extra 20, 30 staff each year, but there's so many. So anyone that we hire now has to come recommended.
Hmm.
So whether it be a floor person who's working, so like Sean, for example, on the World Series, or whether it be Nick on the EPTs, turn and go, I know this theater could be good to bring in. So I guess if you're so in total we have about 450 staff. We had about 450 staff last year, of which I think 250 I think were dealers. If I was trying to hire 1,000 dealers, I may not have the same amount of good
Sure.
dealers. Um, but yeah, we're still in the sweet spot where the guys like and here's the thing, the guys that come and work this event, same as the players, love the event because they have fun as well. They work very, very hard, but when they're finished their shift, they can go into the Craic Den, they can have a drink, um, which is probably fairly unusual to other poker events. We kind of encourage the staff to kind of have some fun with the players as well. Um, but yeah, we've been doing this for a long, long time. As I mentioned, we were doing the Norwegian Championships before the Irish Open, so it's a lot of the same guys. So we've been doing that now like 13 years. So it's obviously having worked in the industry myself, I've come across a lot of really some of the best guys out there.
And but it can't all be sunshine and lollipops. I mean, you get some players that maybe don't understand the etiquette of the game or don't know how lucky they are to be there. And I'm sure occasionally someone starts to make trouble and has to be kind of dealt with. Do any of those kind of stories leap to mind? Present company accepted, Kim. We're not going to get into that whole thing.
Um, for the most part, the event goes off very smoothly. Of course, there are sometimes obviously people's emotions can run high. But again, the guys who are working on the floor have dealt with these similar situations at other events, and they're obviously they know what the rules are, but it's not so much even the rules because the rule. Okay, it's more about if you're needling me and I get upset and I've lost a big pot and then I blow a tantrum or whatever it is. So it's been able to manage that. Like I worked bar trade for years all the way through college and just been able to speak to people and just
Mhm.
kind of diffuse the situation and calm the situation down. I think works a wonders with things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, just kill them with kindness is usually my strategy for that sort of thing. Have there been any sort of like uh so you've been doing this now for 10 years almost with in this current capacity. And has anything let me ask you this. Has anything ever gone like catastrophically wrong that you've been really
Well,
worried about?
we had a situation the first year. So this year was our second year in the RDS.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, previously we were in City West Hotel, and last year, so the first year, so 2023, at the end of the event, so someone had handed in a wallet. It was like about 2,000 in it. There was all the cars and all this sort of stuff, and I know it was a Canadian. You might remember the story, Kim. So anyway, I rang Ralph. I said, Ralph, so do you know who this guy is? He goes, yeah. She goes, yeah, he's a poker dealer in the local club near me. I was like, all right. I said, well, we have his wallet. And it's like, okay, I'll get in touch with him. So then he rings me back a couple of hours later. He goes, where'd you get this wallet? He's been missing. So this was like Wednesday. I think was it Wednesday? I think it was Wednesday. Anyway, he was supposed to, I think I rang on, so I got it on Tuesday. I rang him on Wednesday. He was supposed to return on Monday. And he'd gone missing. He was on medication, wasn't taking his medication, coupled with some drinks in the Craic Den, kind of went a little bit haywire and went missing and was on his own in Dublin walking around. So we dropped everything and tried looking for this guy. And he actually turned up at the Airbnb that he had been staying in, because I think he'd left some of his clothes there, didn't know where he was, came back, he'd cuts on his legs and his arms, and like, so we found him. I got him into a hotel, booked him a flight, was talking to his mother, and so then I left him. And then this was Wednesday night. I said, look, there's no point in getting this guy on a flight on Thursday morning, because he's going to go sleep now. He's not going to wake up. So he's flying home on Friday, and he never made the flight on Friday and went missing again. So now myself and Paul are going around town trying to find this guy, because like we're concerned about, like, this guy obviously had a couple of problems, and we were like, so we found him a second time. I actually slept in a hotel with him that night. I brought him to the airport, come through security, and brought him all the way up. But I think that was potentially the worst or scariest thing, that having a player travel all the way over to Ireland and then going missing, and something bad could have happened there with that guy that time.
I remember hearing about that when we were over there, and it's like it's always the Canadians, isn't it? God, we're just such a useless people. Oh, come on, yeah, just kidding. But no,
No, I want to just say that this story just shows that Paul and JP, like, they care about each and every person that goes to their event, and it's a massive event, but it feels like a home game because
mm,
you're at home and you feel cared for and you feel like you belong there. And it's just such a warm and welcoming environment that if anybody has not been there, they need to go. That's
yeah.
it's just
Someone
it's
referred to
just
it
the best
last year
feeling.
as the world's biggest home game. That's
Oh, I
actually
love
Yeah.
something
that.
about last year. Yeah.
Yeah, that fits for sure. So I guess my last question. Speak to this for me. When I came out there, you guys didn't really know what Rec Poker was. Kim had mentioned it, and Elizabeth had mentioned it. And I think I'd been in touch because I was doing some writing for Poker.org at the time, and so we kind of had some introduction through that. But you guys really took me and our whole organization under your wing, and you gave us some space to set up, and you helped us spread the word about what Rec Poker's all about. And you didn't ask for anything in return. You just decided we're gonna put ourselves out there for these guys and help them with this, recreational organization of poker players that we have. That just is such a generous and wonderful thing that, like, trust me, a lot of other poker tours, they've got contracts, they want to, time's going to be purchased and spaces, like, everything's monetized. What caused you to just go out on a limb like that and take this plucky little Canadian fella and his ragtag group of misfits under your wing like that? It was such a wonderful
I,
thing.
I I think you bribed me with a pint of Guinness, no?
Well, there may have been a couple pints of Guinness going one way or the other, I think, by the time the week was done. But
No, you,
seriously, please, what was that? What was that
you,
all about?
you seem like a nice guy. Like, it was no skin off our nose to you put a couple of flyers out, and I think you gave away some free stuff as well. So like, yeah. So if it was a benefit to the players as well, why not?
Well, that's very sweet. I hope that it was of some benefit to the players. I sure had a great time. I can tell you've got a number of your your legion of fans grows annually. I know the Canadians are doing a good job of representing ourselves there. But I'll just cap this off with one more call. Folks, if you're still listening, it is a lot of fun. I only wish it was cheaper to stay in Dublin. That's like the one. It's a wonderful city, and they know it, so it's expensive to stay
It
there. But
it's
that's
gotten more expensive, a lot more expensive since the war in Ukraine has happened. We had housing
yeah.
prices prior to that, and we actually looked to try and bring the Norwegian Championships back to Ireland after 2 years in Bratislava, and we looked at going to bring it to a hotel down in Kerry. There is over 40% of every hotel room in Ireland has a refugee in it, which is the reason why
Yeah.
hotel prices, like previously when we were in City West Hotel, and Kim will testify to this, like a double room was 110 bucks, whereas now it's 200. So
Hmm.
it's gone up a lot in the last 2 years, unfortunately, and hopefully that situation will resolve itself sometime soon. But until that happens, we're kind of stuck with a shortage of rooms.
Yeah, but I mean, it's I don't mean to say it's not worth it. Like I said, I'm planning on being back there. And if I have to wriggle my way onto a friend's couch or something for a few nights, I'm definitely going to do it. But we'll see if I have Mrs. Blusterini with me. Then she likes to have like she likes to stay in nicer places than I do. So we'll just see how it goes. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. JP, is there anything that we missed? Is there anything that you want to mention about this season coming up, or anything in
Oh,
particular?
no, I think we covered everything. I really appreciate you having us on the show.
Well, and we're going to get a chance to talk to Paul again in January or February. We're splitting you guys up so we can get the true, unvarnished truth about each other from you. Okay. So I should ask one question while he's not here. What's one thing that's like annoying about working with Paul?
Uh, I tell you, he won't mind me saying this. I much prefer, I conduct an awful lot of my business through WhatsApp. Paul
Oh
loves it.
yeah.
I love a WhatsApp. Paul loves an email. Like as I mentioned before we got on, we work opposite shifts to each other. Paul gets up. He's an early bird. He gets up at 5 in the morning. Sometimes when I wake up, I could have 20 emails from Paul,
Yeah.
and it's something that most of these guys don't. So I'm dyslexic, so I struggle
Ah,
hard with with replying to emails. So it takes me much longer. So when I sit down, I've got 20 emails. I'm like, for fuck's sake, that's my day ruined. I spent the whole day trying to read this email and reply to the emails. So I just pick. I much prefer picking the phone up and talking to the person. That's how I like to do my business.
that's a good one. That's a good one. I actually I'm a little dyslexic as well. Another thing we have in common. I didn't know that about you. We're
There you
finding out all
go.
sorts of great stuff
Yeah,
here on the Rec Poker podcast. I love it.
there you go.
All right.
Good.
Well, this was the fun part, and now we're gonna make you a little uncomfortable, JP. We're gonna put you in the blender here. We're gonna play Stake Study Stack. Chris Jones, why don't you run away with it?
All right, JP, we got some good names in the audience, and we're going to ask you about three Irish poker players. You have to pick one that you want to stake in a poker tournament or cash game, one that you'd like to study with, and then one that you take a lot of pleasure at just stacking them and taking all their chips.
Okay. Hit
Your
me.
three your three names are they're all top 10 Irish poker players. Andy Black, Dara Kearney, and Padraig Parkinson.
Andy Black, Parkinson, and Dara. Well, the easy one to study would have to be Dara Carney. So that's easy. Okay, the guy has written a million books. He's quite very knowledgeable in the game. So that's the easy one. So who would I rather stack and who would I rather stake? Uh, I think Andy has a better chance of getting me a return on my money. So I will stake him and I'll stack Park. That was easy.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, you had no trouble with that one. That's great.
Yeah, that was easy.
All right, well then we're going to close the action with our speed round. So here are the rules, JP. You have to say the first answer that pops into your mind has to be true, has to be fast, but you can say pass, okay? And just to add a little drama, let's get the soundboard out here. This is going to put some pressure on JP. You're on the spot now, buddy.
Okay.
Okay? All right, we're going to start with an easy one. JP McCann, what is your favorite poker hand?
Suited Jack King.
Ooh, all right. Is poker a gamble or a skill game?
Skill.
What's your biggest poker pet peeve?
People who take far too much time when they shouldn't have to.
Love that. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Is Ace King a drawing hand?
No.
Is a hot dog is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
What's one thing you're afraid of?
Heights.
Should vacations be lazy or busy?
Lazy mostly.
What's your favorite brick and mortar poker venue? Your favorite place to play cards?
The best one I've been in is the playground.
Oh, yeah. Cosign.
Yeah.
One of my favorites for sure. Go Canada. Who is one player, doesn't have to be the player you respect the most, but just who's one player you respect and why?
Who I respect and why? Oh, there's a good one. I'll say Dara. The amount of work he puts into studying the game is phenomenal. I think he's so disciplined.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No,
There's a yellow light coming up. Slow down or speed up?
speed up.
What's your favorite, when you were a kid, go back in time, what was your favorite like holiday meal?
Probably pizza.
All right, you're getting down to the end of the tournament. Are you pro chop or no chop?
I'm probably gone. I'll be broke up, so.
What's one thing you can't live without?
Football.
Oh yeah. Who's your team?
Liverpool.
Love it.
We're doing well this year.
Is an open face sandwich a sandwich?
Is an open face sandwich a sandwich? No. It's not a sandwich. What? That's a stupid question.
All right, and who is your poker nemesis?
Poker nemesis. Lately, it's Chris Dowling.
All right.
It was an Irish Open ambassador.
I love it.
Every time I play him, I give him my chips.
Yeah, I got it. There's a few like that. All right, last question. I took the timer off because I want you to take your time with this one. And you're like an authority on this as far as I'm concerned, but what's one thing that we as a community can do to make poker more fun?
More well, so I'm not sure how you do this in the bigger events, but quite often you get new players, and this recreation poker is about embracing people, bringing people in. So my club in Dublin, so I would have previously, as I mentioned, had games in pub games and stuff like that. So whenever a new player comes into your local club, as a recreational player or a regular in that club, instead of being trying to be like the rules police on them and telling them you made that mistake, it's better. And so in my club, if someone comes in for the first time, I will explain why they've done something wrong, and I won't say, okay, I'll let them play on. If someone's new, you don't want to come in and just scare them off and make the experience bad the first time, because then they don't come back. So I think players who know someone's new who's in the club, just be a bit more lenient with them, just give them a bit of grace and explain why, if they've made a mistake, what the mistake is. And like berating players over how to play hands badly. You never see a professional tennis player tell another guy, that shot you just did there is a bad shot, and berate them over and how to be a better player. And just be I guess be a little bit humble to the new players and kind of be welcoming.
I love that. That's a great answer and makes perfect sense to me. And it's something that you guys are doing so well over there. I hope you keep it up for many years to come. JP McCann, this has been a pleasure, man. Looking forward to chatting with Paul. I'm sure he'll come. It'll be almost as fun as this was. And
I don't think so.
and I'm already
you can tell I said that.
I will. I'll definitely. There'll be a couple needles for sure. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in person in April. And don't be a stranger in the meantime. If we can catch up.
I really appreciate you guys having us on. And I look forward to seeing you in April. And Kim, I'm sure you'll be in April. You were over this way a few weeks ago. You were over in London last week, I think. Yeah, right?
Yes, I was. It was an awesome event. Yeah. I'll be back for sure. All 2 weeks.
Cool.
And Stewie Carriage in the YouTube chat says hi and has a nice, he's looking forward to seeing you again, says thanks for all the great work, JP. So keep it up, man. You're doing great. We're big fans.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it having us on. Okay.
All
Enjoy
right.
the rest of the night, guys.
Yeah, you too. Happy holidays, pal. See you soon.
All right. Cheers, buddy. Yeah. Happy Christmas, everyone.
All right. Well, we're going to give away a prize here in just a second. We're going to talk about some home game results. So first, we're going to talk about a fantastic charity auction that Joe Coolis is running here. It's open for another week, and you can get some amazing prizes there and support a great cause as well. So I'll just say start typing the words food bank into the YouTube chat. That's how you enter our free contest. We're going to give away a great prize. And well, just to give people a few minutes to type the words food bank into the YouTube chat, I'm just going to say the reason that we do the raffle on the show is to support the fight against food insecurity. And as we were talking about with JP, it's just kind of like a tough time in the world, especially around the holidays. You know, people are going without. People are having trouble feeding themselves, their families, their loved ones, their kids. And you know, we all hope that we can remove some of the stigma from hungry people just getting some help from a local food bank. And when you are looking to donate or to help make the world a better place, one of the best ROIs on your donation is to a local food bank. They don't have a lot of overhead. A lot of the donations that you make go right into feeding hungry people. So whether it's a few dollars out of your wallet, a few hours out of your week as a volunteer, or a few non-perishable food items from your kitchen pantry, I'd love for you to support a local food bank. And one of the reasons why we do the raffle here is so I can say the words food bank about 13 or 14 times on the show. And having done that, Joe Coolest, why don't you talk about just a couple thoughts about the charity auction, and then we'll hear about some recent home game winners and give away a fantastic prize.
Yeah, so the Rec Poker food bank auction is ongoing. It's at rec.poker slash food auction, excuse me, rec.poker slash auction. And things are going quite well. People are bidding on items. There seems to be a fair amount of excitement for items. Had a little bit of a slowdown in terms of bids coming in, and my guess is people are starting to play games. It's like, oh, I'm going to wait. But my suggestion is don't wait, right? Set your price. Set the price and defend, the items that you're looking for. Get in there and mix it up, but also take a look at the items, because I think that people aren't aware of what we've added to the site. Just yesterday, James Hartigan added his shaken but not stirred poker package, which includes a number of items that they actually used on some of the shows that were going on. And he was very generous with the items. And one of them is actually going to be signed by him as well as Joe Stapleton. And we're going to add some items as we go through the week. So we're not done yet. And so just because you've been there once doesn't mean that you've seen everything that we have to offer. But I will just reiterate what Jim says. This is about getting good stuff for you. But we're probably about, if you total up the bids, we're about $800, which is great. And that's about 4 weeks in a lot of different. We talked to Dr. Soto last week.
Soto, yeah,
and she talked about how little it really costs. So this is really an opportunity to give. You don't have to give $1,000. You don't have to be deep pocketed in order to have a real impact. And this is a way that if you're like, well, how can I get something that I'd like to have at the same time provide people with food? It's just a great way to do it. And you really are not going to get many more opportunities to get many of these items, because there's only one of them, right? Brian Winter's Golden Blazer. Do you think there are 5 of those? There's one. And if you want to own it, right? If you like Brian Winter, if you like the interviews that we've done with him, and you follow him at all, this is the opportunity, because he gave that to us. And finally, if you want to learn the secrets of sandwich making, the only way to do it, only way, is to bid on our fearless leader Jim Reid's sandwich making and coaching. Which the coaching, but the sandwich making secrets, that's worth the price of admission. So go there, rec.poker/auction, spend some time, peruse it, bid on items, and have some fun with it. That's what it's supposed to be.
Right on, Joe. Thanks. And like Joe says, 100% of the proceeds are going to the charity. Joe's not keeping track of his hours. Every prize has been fully donated. Rec Poker's not taking a penny. We're just trying to help support this great cause. And there are some very, very cool prizes. And I believe the bidding starts at $25 for a lot of these items. And some of the items are like hours of coaching from, professional players, folks that help run our Learning with Partners program and their own training sites. Like the value is extreme. The cause is excellent. All that's missing is you're going to rec.poker/auction and checking it out. So give it a try. Joe.
Just one more thing, Jim, and just to give to kind of tag on to what you said, it's like some of these if you had to buy them, right, it'd be like
Hmm.
five, six, seven, $800 for the poker training that's being offered on the site. So don't think that these are all cheap things that we found in the closet, right? Some of these things are books and things that people regularly sell and are well worth more than the current bids.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So thanks again. All right, let's see. John Somsky, why don't you talk about some recent home game winners? We've also got coming up on, is it the 21st? The third Saturday in December is our Heads Up match, our quarterly Heads Up series, where you can win your way into Marek Madness. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, December 21st. Come check that out and win your way into Marek Madness. That's super fun. And we'll start talking about that again real soon. John, roll, baby.
Well, I'll start off by just announcing a little bit of trivia. It turns out that December actually has the most home games of any
Oh,
month.
good
And that's
point.
because we have the extra satellite for the heads up, but we also have the Tournament of Champions for the No Limit Hold'em Championship Series. That's going to be on December 18th for those of you who qualify, and I'll discuss a little bit more about that in a little bit. And then on December 23rd is going to be the Tournament of Champions for the Mixed Game Championship Series. So we have lots of games to play in, and I will be sending out notices to your notifying you on the Rec Poker site. So be sure you check in there if you've won. There are also posts there and in Discord to tell you who is qualified for those. So you'll hear more about that later. For the championship series, we have 12 games, one a month every year. All 12 winners are automatically qualified for the Tournament of Champions. And then the next, not the top 12 points earners that did not win a tournament are also going to be eligible to play in the Tournament Champion. So we'll have 24 players eligible to play for those. Now, for the No Limit Hold'em Championship Series, some guy named Poker Geek MN won the No Limit Hold'em Championship Series first time this year and is
Nice.
eligible to it. Evil Roy CA, David Westerveld, took down the Player of the Year championship. He had 317 points, and Mike Beast 172. Mike Bayer came in second place with 272 points. So that's
Amazing.
quite an impressive lead that David had there towards the end.
No
As a matter of
surprise
fact,
there.
he had done the math, and I'm not verifying that his math was correct, but his determination was that Mike was the only player who was within reach to beat him, and did not. Then on December 2nd, Izanma got his sixth nightly victory for the year.
Keeping it up.
And
Love to see it.
E. Anderson 85 got
Oh,
his
nice.
12th nightly victory
Way
for
to
the
go,
year.
Eric.
Apple in my eye. Harold Berry got his fourth
Yes,
nightly
sir.
victory for the year. Kelly S196220, Kelly Stork, got her first nightly victory for the year. Larson's opening, George Borden got his fifth nightly victory for the year. And then just to make sure he was the double winner, E. Anderson 85, Eric Anderson got his second international victory for the year.
Oh,
This is also
amazing.
his 42nd lifetime victory. So he's only 8 away
Whoa.
from making the Silver Lifetime Achievement Award Club. And of course, not to be outdone, Evil Roy CA, David Westerveld, got his fifth international victory for the year. And then Poker Geek and John Somsky won the LPP event. He
Yes.
can contact
Yes.
info@rec.poker for his free month at Learn Pro Poker.
And John, I know you were away last week, so I had to wear the mantle of saying all the home game names and hopefully pronouncing them correctly. And you won one last week as well. That's three for you in the last couple weeks. That's very impressive, John.
Yeah, I won one last week, which will get me into the Tournament of Champions tonight. So
Yes.
we'll see. I have yet to win a TOC, and I've played in lots of TOC events. But the asterisk has never fallen my way there.
All right, you're gonna have to go through me, John, because I'm playing tonight too.
Yeah, nice. Speaking of Rob Washam, we're going to give away a prize here tonight to support a local food bank. You've been looking at some Learning with Partners prizes and some cool stuff. What's on your mind before we jump into that?
I'm I'm thinking that we're going to be giving away a free month at Poker Forge tonight.
Hmm.
And we also want to mention that Sky is having a sale, and this will be pertinent for anybody that's live today because the sale is today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And you can get the quarterly membership for only $99. You just click on the link under rec.poker/partners. Is it partners or learning partners?
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'll put it in the chat here too.
okay. So click on that and use the code RecPoker at checkout, and you will get a quarterly for just $90, which is a $39 a month savings over the normal price. So it's a great promotion going on for the next 3 days. Poker Forge. Sky has been such a great um, uh, opponent for Rec Poker. He's been helping us out a lot. He comes on, he's been on our show a number of times. He's always giving a lot of great insight for especially Rec Poker players. So it is definitely worth your while to check it out. And tonight you can earn a free month at the Poker Forge.
There you go. And yeah, I'll just echo what Rob's saying. When I was still coming up in the game and learning how to use Poker Tracker and, listening to all these podcasts, and Sky was one of the people that I emailed. We emailed back and forth a few times, kind of sorting out some Poker Tracker stuff. He's always been very generous with his time. He's a great resource to recreational poker players and has been for a long time. So it's a pleasure to be able to, help share his material with our members. And if you're listening at home, don't worry, you may have missed out on the sale, but there are a couple other promotions that he's got going on through the holidays and into the new year. So we're going to be offering in our newsletter over the next several weeks, we'll be offering a couple ways that you can also work with Sky at a discounted rate. So make sure if you haven't yet, go to rec.poker and sign up for twerp this week in Rec Poker. Be a twerp and sign up for our newsletter, and you'll get all sorts of great, valuable discounts and resources and stuff there as well. So I hope people do. And let me see. I guess we're gonna drag this out a couple more minutes and give away a prize. I want to just mention it's December. So if you have been nice this year, it's time for our naughty or nice sale. And anyone who uses the code NICE at checkout can get their first month of Rec Poker for only $1. And I know that at least one person has already taken us up on it. I forgot to mention them at the beginning of the show, but welcome back to our premium membership, Jesse Schrader. And thank you for using code NICE and letting us know that you're on Santa's good list, the nice list this year. Of course, if you've been naughty, I don't know what to tell you. But if you use the code NICE at checkout, you can get your first month for only $1. And I hope some folks give us a try. Also, what would be really nice is
the nice list rather. We're still hoping to kind of move up, but
yeah, we're all aiming for nice. It's aim for the stars, and if you miss, you'll still be in. I don't know. That's a stupid expression. I've already screwed that one up. And yeah, Luke O asks from the YouTube chat and says, and if we use naughty, I don't know, Luke. I don't know what would happen. That's a great question. Maybe someone should try and see, and then write in and tell us about their experience. Who knows? That sounds like that could be kind of fun, though. So yeah, come join our premium membership. And also, if you have some friends that love poker, for $1, you can get them a whole month at Rec Poker, and it's Christmas and Hanukkah right around the corner, and like a bunch of other holidays. I'm just saying. That sounds like a great opportunity to nice up a buddy by using the code NICE at checkout, getting your first month of Rec Poker Premium for only $1. And if you like Rec Poker, you're going to love this little tidbit. We are back at Running Aces on January 31st and February 1st. I'm flying in on Thursday. That's the 30th of January. We'll have dinner, some drinks, maybe a cash game on Thursday night. Tournaments all day Friday and Saturday with all sorts of prizes. We're going to be splashing pots. We're going to be giving stuff away. We're going to be our usual fun, friendly, foolish selves, having a great time. There's going to be tons of Rec'ing Crew members, tons of Rec Poker Premium members. All the folks that you want to hang out with will be at the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino on Friday and Saturday, January 31st and February 1st. So do come out and make it if you can. And the last thing I'll say is if you like what we're doing here, you go to rec.poker/support. You can find all sorts of ways to help us out without dropping a dime. liking things, subscribing to things, sharing things. Those are all really helpful to us. And there's also a few opportunities to help us out financially, which of course we appreciate. Like heading over to our new Patreon page. If you go to Patreon/RecPoker, you can actually, for $10 a month, you can download an audio version of almost all of our training material every month as it comes out. An audio version gets put up to our Patreon listeners. So you can listen along while you're driving or doing the dishes or watching paint dry or whatever you get up to in your downtime. It's a great way to help us out and also kind of accelerate your poker knowledge, your poker learning. So check that out. All right. Why don't we give away a fantastic prize and roll on out of here? Chris Jones, my chat here, if it starts with John Doe, it's John, Stu, Joe Rafter, Luke, K Poker Wannabe. I count 5. Do you see 5 as well?
That's what I see as well.
All right. Well, if you roll a 6, actually, no, if you roll a 1, it's more appropriate. I'll donate $20 to a local food bank here. And oh no, but that's going to screw up the math. Well, yeah, let's make it hard. We'll make it hard.
Do it. I think we can do it.
Between the two of us, I believe in us.
We're poker players. Maybe we can halfway construct some math together.
All right. DJ said we haven't seen a 1 in a while, so maybe if I put some money on it, that'll bring it to the 4.
It's a 2.
Oh, all right. So pays to get in there early is what I'm hearing. JD, John Doe. All right. Congratulations. DJ. John Doe is JD. It's my buddy DJ. Congratulations, DJ. You're on a bit of a roll, buddy. You've won a free month at the Poker Forge. So you can email info@rec.poker and we'll set you up with a fantastic prize. You're really going to enjoy it. Yeah, like I say, Sky's a great teacher, and he's got a ton of videos there that are really aimed. Actually, DJ, this is perfect for you. They're aimed at low stakes, 6 max cash play, which is something that I know DJ is working on right now. So this could be kind of perfect. Check it out. Send that email. info@rec.poker. Yeah, DJ says, I finally won one. I'm 1 for 36. There you go. That's we can't all be Cape Poker Wannabes and Evil Roy Slades. Those guys just seem to rack these up. But congratulations, DJ, and thanks for all your support over the years, buddy. All right. Well, gang, this was super fun. I hope to see some of you listeners in Dublin in April for the Irish Poker Open. Failing that, if you're Vegas bound, I'm going to be down there over the next couple of weeks playing in the Prime and the $10,400 World Championship. Still feels kind of crazy. I'm going to play 2 $10,000 poker tournaments this year. That's insane. Pinch me. I know Mom isn't watching anymore because she signed off earlier, but Mama, good Lord. So yeah, I've got the best life in the world. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're in Vegas over the next couple of weeks, look me up. Let's grab breakfast or chat poker or do something else fun. It's going to be a great time. All right, let's end this. My thanks to the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino. We couldn't do it without your support. Big shout out to Rob Delaney. Diesel, you are the man. Thank you so much for that. All our fantastic YouTube chatters. JP McCann was a great guest. Rob Washam, Kim Kilroy, Joe Coolis, Chris Jones, and John Somsky. Bless y'all. I couldn't do it without you. And all our listeners at home, you're the best. We'll see you next week on the Rec Poker Podcast. Have a good night, everybody.